You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
And now, a word from our sponsor, ThreatLocker, the powerful zero-trust enterprise solution that stops ransomware in its tracks. Allow Listing is a deny-by-default software that makes application control simple and fast. Ring fencing is an application containment strategy, ensuring apps can only access the files, registry keys, network resources, and other applications they truly need to function. Shut out cybercriminals with world-class endpoint protection from ThreatLocker.
Today is October 15th, 2025. I'm Maria Varmazis, and this is T-Minus.
T-minus 20 seconds to LOS T-Dress. Go for deploy. Roger, roll.
China has launched a Long March 2D rocket carrying the Xi'an-31 experimental satellite to polar orbit.
4.
K2 Space Corporation has signed a contract with SpaceX to launch 3 satellites on a Falcon 9 rocket in 2027.
3.
The World Economic Forum has released a National Space Strategy Toolkit.
2.
Germany's Exolaunch and India's Skyroot have announced a new partnership to provide launch access.
1.
Rocket Lab successfully launched its 15th mission of the year and the first of 21 new launches for Synspective.
0.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Now, we're still in a quiet time for the space industry, thanks in large part to the U.S. federal government shutdown. But there are still plenty of launches and announcements for us to get through today, so without further ado, let's dive into today's Intel briefing. First up, at the time of yesterday's recording, Rocket Lab successfully launched its 15th mission of the year and the first of 21 new launches for Synspective. The Owl New World mission launched on Electron from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in New Zealand to deploy the 7th Strix satellite to a 583-kilometer low Earth orbit. The mission was the first of a series of 21 dedicated Electron launches that will take place between now and the end of the decade for Japan's Synspective. It was also the 11th Electron mission completed for Synspective since launches to deploy their constellation began in December 2020. Rocket Lab plans to launch 27 missions for Synspective in total, with Electron being the primary launcher of their constellation. Germany's Exolaunch and India's Skyroot have announced a new partnership to provide end-to-end launch services for satellites and expand access to orbit for commercial, institutional, and government customers worldwide. The companies have agreed to collaborate on comprehensive launch campaign planning, satellite integration, and on-site mission execution to deliver seamless launch services to global satellite operators. Exolaunch plans to integrate and deploy customer satellites on Skyroot's Vikram series of launch vehicles, beginning with the Vikram 1 orbital missions. Exolaunch will provide its flight-proven technologies for Skyroot customers across dedicated and rideshare launches to include the use of Exolaunch's ExoTube payload stacks. The World Economic Forum has released a National Space Strategy Toolkit. The Space Policy Guide is intended to help emerging nations looking to produce space policy for the first time and aid established nations to evaluate their current regulations. The toolkit aims to provide step-by-step guidance, recommendations based on best practices, and lessons learned from space actors around the world, and useful, quantitative information for nations to build an effective space strategy and program. The WEF hopes it'll aid nations to define a high-level purpose, covering how space can support a nation's needs, with recommendations on actions that can be carried out to build a space strategy and program. The toolkit and associated paper have been developed in collaboration with PwC, and if you're interested, you can read it in full by following the link in the selected reading section of our show notes. K2 Space Corporation has signed a contract with SpaceX to launch 3 satellites on a Falcon 9 rocket in 2027. The mission will include multiple deployment events to allow the satellites to operate at 3 different Earth orbits. The satellites are planned to deploy in low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, and geostationary transfer orbit. K2 Space has named this mission Trinity, and it will follow the upcoming February 2026 mission Gravitas, launching as a part of a rideshare mission with SpaceX. And China says that it successfully launched a new test satellite into space from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center earlier this week. A Long March 2D rocket carried the Xi'an-31 to polar orbit. Now, Xi'an-31 is a Chinese experimental satellite to test new optical imaging technologies. And according to Chinese media, the satellite will be mainly used to verify new optical imaging technologies. And to find out what other gems are included in today's show notes, my friends, N2K senior producer Alice Cruz joins me now. Alice, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Maria. Our selected reading section of the show notes includes original sources of all the stories mentioned throughout the episode. Today, we've included a link to watch the SpaceX launch, which is happening this evening. They're planning a 4:03 p.m. PT liftoff of a Falcon 9 for the Space Development Agency's Tranche 1 data transport mission to low Earth orbit. We'll have more on that once it happens. And there's another SpaceX launch covered in WiseKey's announcement of their quantum communications demonstration expected to lift off next month.
And as a reminder, all of those links can be found on the episode page on our website, which is space.n2k.com. Hi, listeners. Our whole mission here at T-Minus is to give you a daily intel briefing about what's happening in the space industry that's impactful to you. So your feedback is really important to us, especially when you leave us a rating and review. Like this one by listener Marcus Aurelius UW. And they said, quick and informative. Enjoy the daily updates. It's a good listen. Well, gratias tibiago, Marcus Aurelius. Our thanks and glad that you enjoy our show. And you too can let us know how we're doing with your rating and review in your podcast app of choice. And maybe I'll even read it on the show. You never know. And speaking for the entire T-Minus team, a huge, huge thank you in advance for taking a moment to tell us what you think. We'll be right back.
What's your 2 a.m. security worry? Is it, do I have the right controls in place? Maybe, are my vendors secure? Or the one that really keeps you up at night, how do I get out from under these old tools and manual processes? That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta automates the manual work so you can stop sweating over spreadsheets, chasing audit evidence, and filling out endless questionnaires. Their trust management platform continuously monitors your systems, centralizes your data, and simplifies your security at scale. And it fits right into your workflows, using AI to streamline evidence collection, flag risks, and keep your program audit ready, all the time. With Vanta, you get everything you need to move faster, scale confidently, and finally, get back to sleep. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. That's VANTA.com/cyber. At Thales, they know cybersecurity can be tough and you can't protect everything. But with Thales, you can secure what matters most. With Thales's industry-leading platforms, you can protect critical applications, data, and identities, anywhere and at scale with the highest ROI. That's why the most trusted brands and largest banks, retailers, and healthcare companies in the world rely on Thales to protect what matters most: applications, data, and identity. That's Thales. THALES. Learn more at thalesgroup.com/cyber.
Welcome back. Astronomers have identified a double-ringed odd radio circle, one of the rarest and most mysterious structures in the universe. And of course, they've given the rare structure a rare name. Please bear with me as I read this mess of numbers. It's RAD J131346.9 plus 500 320. Get all that? Woo! The object lies roughly 7 to 8 billion light years away, and it is now the most distant and most powerful odd radio circle, or ORC, ever observed. Of course, there's an acronym for it. What did you think? It's space. Now, what makes this ORC exceptional is its twin rings. It is essentially two intersecting circular shells of magnetized plasma surrounding a central galaxy. Only one other such twin ring ORC has ever been documented, and the discovery was made by citizen scientists working with professional teams using data from the LOFAR radio telescope, demonstrating how human eyes still play a very crucial role in finding anomalies that automated systems might miss. Eat that AI. Anyway, as for its origin, theories point to energetic outflows, which are super winds or past jet activity from the central galaxy's supermassive black hole interacting with the surrounding plasma to carve those rings. Now, while many, many mysteries remain, like why ORCs are so rare, how exactly they evolve, and what role environment plays in their formation, this discovery does open a new frontier into the cosmic interplay between galaxies, black holes, and large-scale plasma structures. Neat, right? And that is T-Minus, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We would love to know what you think of our podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to space@n2k.com. We're proud that N2K Cyberwire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K helps space and cybersecurity professionals grow, learn, and stay informed. As the nexus for discovery and connection, we bring you the people, the technology, and the ideas shaping the future of secure innovation. Learn how at n2k.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our producer is Liz Stokes. We are mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester, with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilby is our publisher, and I am your host, Maria Varmazes. Thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.
T-minus